to R-34-1819, the Measure S Facilities Program Update.
Thank you. Just very quickly, the summer project, Prop 39, which is the retrofitting for the lighting. There's an action item for you a little later in the agenda for the retrofit contractor. We are going to be able to do the switch out the lighting in the gym and in the hallways. So we had asked to bid that separately if we didn't have enough funding, but we do. So the gym lighting will be done. I know Jen's excited. And so we're well underway. I want to thank Nancy for her thoroughness and for her reaching out and getting everybody organized and advertised and hired and everything else. So thank you, Nancy, for doing that. With the Coastal Commission, we're ready to resubmit. We did talk about the Coastal Commission application at the joint meeting a couple of months back or whenever in the recent past. And so we needed to provide some additional information. That package is ready to go. We're just waiting on one document from the city, and I expect that we'll be getting that, very, very shortly. We do want to make sure our city is unique in that it doesn't have its own coastal plan. Most cities do, and which streamlines the process so that you can go directly to the city in order to work within the coastal zone. But lucky for us, we are going to be meeting with the actual Coastal Commission, and they travel up and down the state. I did not realize that, so we're very, very anxious to get on their agenda. I just wanted to circle back around maybe for Mr. Higgins, Tony Higgins. I was able to, board member McCall and a couple of the others of you have asked me to make sure that residents, when they come before us, know that we're hearing them and to give some sort of response. So I did send him an email. I did check with our CEQA consultant about some of the concerns that he's had with regards to 27th Street, wear and tear. I just want to remind you and let the public know that we did write a letter during the EIR process for the Plaza Hotel, because we understand that there are multiple ways that the construction trucks and everyone else can get to that location, whereas our location is extraordinarily limited in terms of options. He wrote me a very, very nice email back, and part of it said we may not have the same point of view. And, I think he's right, because I'm coming from a bureaucratic organization where there's not a lot of flexibility about how you want to make decisions, but he is coming from the point of view as a resident. And so those may not always jive, but I do appreciate his feedback and his patience. And we're really excited to bring our construction company on board and to start giving him the very information that he was asking for tonight. We are in line with him, and we will get it to him. And I will make sure that we reach out so that he doesn't have to find out about it, in other ways. Specifically want to make sure our 27th Street neighbors are okay. The MOU, the RFP for the MOU for the traffic manager / transportation planner, it's been posted, and so we are on a very tight timeline with regards to that. I want to thank Leanne over at the city, who is working on this with me and has much more experience in this area, but it's been posted on both of our websites. It's been advertised, and she sent it to professional warehouses for potential applicants. I don't really know what that means, but it sounds really good because we've already had some people who have responded. So thank you, Leanne. And I just wanted to remind everybody that a couple of months ago, I started to add a construction update on our website. So this is our third one, and mostly it just talks about timelines, because we really haven't started too much in the construction area, but we are very soon. And so when that happens, I'll be working with the construction company, and we will try to forecast as much as we can. This will be a living document. It'll be updated from time to time. Timelines are subject to change, so that people can hop on if they have any other questions. But we want to try to use this as another form of communication with our residents. And as always, if there's any input, any one of us is available to get information for you and to answer your questions. And do you have any questions for me?
Jen, yeah, please.
Would you just expand a little on the CEQA application, Pat, so we all know, like, is there any support you need from us? I know we're still waiting for some things you had mentioned, but I know we are urgently waiting for those things. So
Right. So so there were a couple of items that the Coastal Commission was not able to find in our 700-page, EIR, and so one of which was to. And I'll just say that we had an opportunity to meet with representatives from the Coastal Commission. Some of the local neighbors at North had asked the Coastal Commission to come in and to do a site visit, if you will, around the perimeter of the property. And we were able to meet with them following that meeting so that we could, really address whatever they heard, what questions they had. And it was an amazing opportunity, and I have to thank Suja Lowenthal, who is our city manager, for inviting us in on that conversation. But one of the items was looking at the, bless you, one of them was to get a letter. It's a standard practice to get a letter from the city acknowledging that they are, that the project is appropriate and it's accepted in the city. One of which was I'm blanking, it was the really big one. One of which was they wanted to understand about the parking, because the school site is located in the residential parking permit zone. And so what I've learned is that those parking places are very highly regulated. When new houses are being constructed, driveways are no longer allowed to be on the street where there would have been permit parking. And so one of the questions they asked was, will we be opening up the school parking lot in the off-school hours for public access parking, which we are going to do. And historically, the parking lot at North has never been open to the public. We've closed it down, nothing on the weekends, nothing if there's been a park event. And so we are going to be opening that up. And so that's what they needed, was a parking management plan. About how will what is our recommendation for signage, how will that be managed, and will it be open access? And they had a number of different questions. So our consultant put that together. And then they wanted a couple drawings that they needed, and I forgive me, I don't have the letter with me, but there was one other piece. What was it? Oh, the sight lines, yes. Our architect put together a view of how the buildings will stand, sit, lay on the street in comparison to the existing buildings, so that we're looking at whether or not the height of the buildings were disproportionate to what existing buildings are there. And that's a really nice overlay. I should send that to you, and I could also put it on the website. And then, but there was one other thing. I'm so sorry, I can't think of what it was. But anyway, we're all ready. We just need that letter from the city, and we're going to send it off and get ourselves on that calendar. So, does that answer your question?
Well, the question I'm just wondering is, when do we need to, since I know it's urgent to get it sent out, is there anything we need to do as a board to help get that letter from the city?
Well, you are free to do what you want. But we're really working hard, and they are too. I'm just a little impatient. I want to get it yesterday so we can send it off. I got the packet all ready to go. So yeah, I think that just reminding them, and I know they're working on it.
Are there any other questions?
No.
I guess just building on that, I just want to pointedly know if as and when, because we won't know when we'll get back in front of Coastal Commission, but will that potentially, if we can't get in front of them, will that be a delay to the ultimate deadline? I mean, we're sort of anxious to get this moving and get it going or whatever else, so this is an important step. So I just want to understand if, like to Bullman Cole's point, like, is this delay of this letter, and are we going to in danger of missing something, or is this sort of something that can run in tandem while we've got everything else lining up, and so it's not too much of a concern?
Yeah, no, it's always the concern.
Okay.
Because we want to get it out there as fast as we can. And now that we realize that they travel down the state It's not like you can just make an appointment and drop in or go over there. I mean, they literally, so their next spot will be San Diego, and their spot after that will be Orange County. That's fortunate. But it's highly structured. I mean, I said to them, well, could we get on a waiting list? And they're like, oh, you're so cute. No. No one doesn't show up for their Coastal Commission appointment. So, yeah, time is money. And so we want to get going. Now we have pre-construction activities and things that we need to do, and we're going to get started with that. So I think we can work on parallel tracks at the same time, but we need to get that application in, and we need to do it yesterday. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? No? Thank you.
All right, we will now move on to consent.